All right, guys, I'm back. More F1 action. This one is a little bit different. This is the first time you've seen something like this. This is eSports qualifying, and I'll just go ahead and call out there. I just showed all my settings, and you, of course, can slow down the video and look at the specifics there if you want to know what's going on. But basically, this is an eSports qualifying event that's on F1 2021, the game. And you set all the assists that you want. You set the settings sort of how you want. But this is really a just very controlled environment where they basically tell you, okay, you start in P8 as Carlos Sainz. You have to make it up to P5 by the end of the race, and it gives you, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71. So what is that, 6 laps? They give you 6 laps, and you have to make up 3 places here. And I guess, the upshot here is that if you do well, then you can qualify for eSports next season. And I, of course, know that I'm not very good. I use medium traction control. I use full ABS. I use automatic gears. Like, there's no way I'm making esports. But nonetheless, I think it's a really cool event, and it's fun to do. And I don't think by any means that I've got a score here that's close enough to challenge any of the real esports drivers. But I'm certainly happy with how I did, given the assist that I'm using and given where I think I am skill level wise. So this was a lot of fun. But the key here, I think, is that they put you on softs as signs. You're behind Leclerc, Ricardo, and Perez. Those are the 3 drivers you have to pass. They're all on mediums. Okay, so that really helps you. It lets you go a little higher in terms of what difficulty you want to run on this. So I'm at 95 here, which is higher than I normally play. But like I said, as long as you're smart about using your ERS to get in DRS range and cognizant of the fact that you're on softs and they're on mediums, you can certainly run it at a higher AI level than you usually play. I actually started out the first time at like 70, I think, and I blew past all 3 of these guys within like 2 laps. And of course, your score is sort of scaled based on your difficulty, so I didn't really get that high of a score. I also tried it on 110, and it did not go well. I couldn't even catch my teammate Leclerc. So, but I did sort of figure out that this is a really good place to pass these guys. You can get DRS and pass them going into that first turn, and then still have DRS to try to chase the next car. So that's where I tried to pass these cars as much as I could. And I realize that I'm giving away all my secrets here, but also, like, you guys are not going to take F1 esports away from me. I'm not going to get it with my score unless I switch to manual gears, go up in AI, and I guess turn off ABS and maybe trackline. I don't know if trackline makes a difference, but the point is, I know that my score is not going to be F1 esports competitive, so feel free to take my tips and tricks and try to do with it what you will. I just used the same Austria setup that I ran for a league race a while back. I found out it works pretty well for me, and it fit pretty well on the Ferrari car, so I was completely fine with that. But I think what I want to say most of all is that I've really thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was a blast, and even if you're not going to be competitive in terms of getting to the esports level and qualifying, I think it's still a lot of fun to even just sort of compare scores and with maybe some of your friends, or even just as simply as trying to get the best possible score you can. So, for instance, I did the first run on 70. I think I did a total of like 6 or 7 runs at this to try to get the best score I could and figure out like what the maximum AI level was that I could sort of actually beat it on, because you have to actually beat it to have a score that counts. You can, like, I ran it on 110 AI, and I actually got I didn't get a decent score, I wouldn't say. It wasn't a very good score, but also it would not have counted because I didn't actually pass it. So you actually have to get to P5 and pass the challenge for it to even count as a score on the leaderboard. So it was really fun, and I think it helped me become a better driver just from practicing this. And I mean, this is like a very specific scenario, but you got to try to keep it on a track. You've got to try to stay within range of these guys. You've got to figure out how to use your ERS intelligently. all that stuff. And I think it really just makes you a better driver to be practicing that sort of thing and sort of figuring out, what you can do as best you can. So you've seen me now pass Leclerc and Ricardo, and I'm having to go at Perez here. Couldn't quite get him there, but I'm doing my absolute best to try to catch up with him. Taking advantage of the DRS zones and taking advantage of the ERS. But again, trying to keep it clean because one aspect of your score is based on clean laps. So I'm pretty sure that includes running into other cars, that includes going off track, that includes warnings for track limits. So you have to try to do as best as you possibly can. And that's obviously what I was trying to do. And I certainly had a few runs that ended with me spinning. I had a few runs that ended with me not successfully completing the challenge, especially when I tried at higher AI levels. I tried at 110. I think I tried at 100. I definitely tried a few lower than 95, and 95 ended up being the one that finally worked for me. And I actually passed all three of the cars in front of me at the exact same place on the track. So I do think that that's probably the best place to pass guys. Well, that's also just the best place to pass guys on the track, honestly, other than maybe this second stretch here and this stretch right here if you just happen to get a good run at it. But for me, I think that first straight that going into turn one happened to be the best place for me to pass guys. And I feel like I'm a better driver than I was before I did this challenge. And I look forward to comparing scores with my friends, hopefully, if they do it. I don't actually know anybody who's done it yet, I don't think. But I do look forward also to qualifying for eSports. If they happen to take the top 10% of qualifiers, then I'm in. Although, I don't know how my score will hold. So I forget the exact score here, but it's around 70K, which at the moment is top 10, at least on PlayStation. So yeah, 70,259. So total time scored 1,000, best lap scored 29, clean laps bonus 22, flashback 7, difficulty 5680, assist 47 something. So there I am, number 461, top 10%, which is not going to hold, but for now, I love it. Thanks, guys.